I'm going to show you the process of creating a 3D character in VRoid Stusio. Creating an animation in Blender and Mixamo. And then changing it from Image 2 in Stable Diffusion to the style that you want. There are more and more AIs making anime. But it's a little sad to make the action and style exactly the way I intended. So I'm still mostly using the Image2img method. Download the installation file from the VroidStudio homepage. Install it, run it, say create new, gender it. When a character appears, adjust the tab at the top and the menu on the left to create the character you want. We'll change it in Stable Diffusion anyway, so you don't need to make it too detailed. I'm going to export it. Select Export VRM. The export again, and enter the character's name. And enter your username. The export button at the bottom. Specify a path and save it. Before you go to Blender, download an add-on that connects the VRM file to the Blender. I'll leave the link down below. Download add-on, and then you're going to go to Blender. Edit, Preference, Add-on, Install. And then you're going to select the zip file that you just downloaded to install add-on. And search for VRM, check the Import/Export VRM format, and it's ready to go. Import the VRM file and import the character that you created. So that's imported correctly. Select body, face, and hair on the right side, and export it. File, Export, FBX. In the path you want, type the file name, and export only mesh. Go to the Mixamo, log in, and hit Upload Character. Drag and drop that FBX file that I just exported from Blender. Map's gone, but don't worry about it and move on. Referring to the small image on the right, move the markers to the joints in the right place. Press Next and Auto Rigging. Now that you're ready to apply the animation, click on the left-hand side of the action that you like and apply it. When you like the action, click Download. Change the option to Without Skin, frame per second to 24. Download the keyframe in uniform. I'd also like you to create a T-pose as a reference. Search for T in animation. Apply the T-pose, download it, and use Weed Skin this time. I'll also make a walking pose and bring it to you. Check the in place, make it walk in the right place, and download the frame using the without skin. So I made T-pose, walking, dancing, and brought them to the Blender. I'm going to move the original VRM character over to the side. And I'm going to bring out the T-pose from Mixamo. Import FBX T-pose. I'll finish the mapping. First, select the white body, press Shift, and select the right body. Ctrl-L, link materials, and link it. Select white face first, click Shift, then other face, Ctrl-L, link material. Select white hair, click Shift, select hair with a map. Click Ctrl-L, and select link material. And then choose a bone for T-pose. I'm going to open up the Action Editor. Click on the shape of the clock, Dope Sheet, Action Editor. And type T-pose, enter. Now I'm going to bring up two other animations. Import FBX and walk, move it to the side to show. Select the bone, and type in the name of the action, walk, enter. And finally, import FBX, dancing animation. I'll move it so that it doesn't overlap. Select the bone, type Roomba dancing and enter. Now that all the animations are laced up, delete any unnecessary skeletons. Select a bone with a T-pose and apply the Roomba dance from the list. The animation will be applied right away. Let's apply the work too. You can finish it and render it. But I'm going to show you how to edit your action really quickly. Open the nonlinear animation, select the action you want, and push down. You can do an infinite repeat action cycle. And you can speed it up, and you can bring in another action. And you can do it by blending the two together. We can do a walk and dance action, and if you completely overlap two or more actions. And you turn off all the upper action that you don't need. You can mix more than two actions, like the arms are dancing and the legs are walking. Next, I'll show you how to make facial expressions more detailed. Select the VRM file you created in VRoid, click on the triangle icon. And you'll see a ton of options. I can select any one and adjust the value and it will change its expression. I can take keyframes to a timeline and make facial expressions animation. This clip is from a scene that I made before. I made it with this feature. You can control the details of each eye, brow, and mouth. Now, I'll render the dancing action. I'll speed it up because I think the video will be too long. You write down the image size, the scene length, the path it's going to be stored in, the file format, the composition of the character. And then when you render it, it's a background color gray, so if you want to change a background color, you can make your own plane like this. Or you can go to the compositor and put the background color on the camera. If you set node like this, you can drag the image you want and render it with a background instead of a solid color. For now, I'll change it back to green and render animation. As for the render engine, use Eevee to render it quickly. This completes the image sequence to take to Stable Diffusion. Comes to Stable Diffusion's Image2Img tab. Write down the prompt you want. Drag and drop one of the rendered images in the Blender. I'm going to specify the sampler, the image size, and I'm going to create an image. I'll apply TemporalNet. I'm going to enable it. I'm going to do a DW open pose. TemporalNet is more important. You can use Canny, Linear or Soft Edge for another TemporalNet. I'm only going to use 0.5 for line art. I'm going to create it again. And I'm going to bring down denoise strength. I'm creating a standard image, so you have to keep adjusting the number until you're satisfied. I want to apply a detailer, but I won't because of the flicker in the animation. Instead, I'll enlarge the size and create a new face. The face is a bit detailed now. Lock the seed. I'm going to go back to TemporalNet and check Enable, then select the TemporalNet. Check TemporalNet is more important. And the processor is none. If you don't have this model, I'm going to left a link in down below. So you can download the safe tensor model file and the YAML file. You're just going to put it in the Stable Diffusion, extension, TemporalNet, models folder. You can find a different name for the YAML file. You're just going to modify it the same name with the SAF tensor model. Remove the image you brought in for the settings and go to the Batch tab. Put the path of the rendered images in Blender, in the input directory and TemporalNet input directory. And then write the path of the image to be saved in your output directory. Click Generate, and you'll be able to convert all of those images. It took 23 minutes to convert 60 images, 960 to 768 sizes. I use TemporalNet, so the flicker is less. But I'll show you how to use EbSynth to make a video with no flicker. Download the program from the website, unzip it, and run it. It looks simple like this. Drag the folder containing the image sequence you rendered in Blender into the video. I made a folder called Key. I've just copied one of the images that I've converted from Stable Diffusion into a folder that's going to be a random keyframe. Note that it should be the same serial number as the image you rendered in Blender, and should be the same size. You drag the folder out, you put it on keyframe, and based on the 14th image, the first through 58 images are automatically converted. You hit Run All, and in a second, you're going to get a folder, that image sequence inside it. I think one keyframe is enough for now. If your image is crushed and strangely converted, you can try again by adding keyframes. I've created 4 random keyframes. Let's open a new EbSynth. Place a images rendered in Blender to video. Drag key folder to the keyframes. Automatically make the sections for each keyframe to be converted. Of course, you can specify it manually. Since there are 4 keyframes, it will create 4 folders, which will store the converted images. Press Export to AE, write the number of frames per second, and then the After Effects will open and the converted images will load automatically. If you use a different editing tool, you can place the sequences in order and adjust the opacity to make dissolves. This is a video I made for comparison in the past. First video is created by Zepeto, and then it converts that video to image. Denoise at .75 default, and a lot of flicker. The third one is I added TemporalNet to the second one, short for flicker. And then the fourth one is EbSynth. EbSynth, it doesn't have flicker, looks good, but if I zoom in, you'll see that there's a bunch of broken images. If you keep adding keyframes to get rid of them, you're going to end up with folders. And it's going to be hard to manage data, so I like image. Actually, this flicker can be removed by purchasing DaVinci Resolve Studio and applying an effect called Deflicker. This feature is not available in the free version of DaVinci Resolve. I didn't buy it, so I didn't check it. Now, I'm going to bring the sequence from image to image into After Effects, and I'm going to composite the background without the green. In order to bring it up into After Effects, the serial number of the images has to be correct. Select all of them, and then if it's Windows 11, display additional options, rename. Rename just one of them, and the entire serial number will be batch corrected. Once you're ready, drag the folder of After Effects and upload it, drag it again, and add it to the composition. Double-click on the layer and apply Roto Brush. Go to the first frame and draw the area roughly. Play it once and let it know where the area is. Then look at it frame by frame, hold the Control key or Alt key, and drag it, while adjusting the size of the brush to refine the area. If there's a little bit of green on it, search for key and effect. And use Key Cleaner to soften or harden the boundary. Apply inner-outer key, and reduce the outline a little, so you won't see as much green. After removing the green part, bring in the background and add it. Make sure the background and the character blend in well, adjust the tone, and add any special effects you want to complete the drawing. Thank you so much for watching this long tutorial. See you in the next video.